Yesterday, one of my clients had an awakening in one of our sessions, and I want to tell you a little bit about it. I don't want to go into too much of the personal details, but I'll talk about some of the general themes and steps that she went through along the way, and hopefully that can shed some light for you about what this process can look like, what some of the moves can look like that can lead to an awakening. So, one of the techniques that I use with people, one of the ways in which I work with people is oftentimes I will put people into a hypnagogic state. And this is a state that is kind of like hypnosis. It's kind of like the place between consciousness and dreaming. This is something that Carl Jung used a lot in his work with active imagination. It's essentially a similar kind of space. And I drop people into this place of real quiet, of real expansiveness, of real openness in the center of their psyche, in the center of their being. And when you go inward like that, you can ask a question of this inner space. And I can sense when somebody is dropped in there. I can sense when we've arrived there. And I'll ask them to ask a very simple question around the very thing that they're there to work on. And usually the answer comes pretty much immediately, either in the form of a word, an image, or a phrase, or just this sense of knowing what the answer to the question is. It's kind of like there's a room in one of my favorite movies called Stalker. It's a Russian film, and they are looking for a hidden mystical room somewhere in this strange place called the Zone, where if you go there, and it'll grant you a wish. But it won't just grant you any wish, it'll grant you the thing that you most desire in your deepest self. Well, this place inside of us is actually like this room. It's not going to tell us what we want, what our brain wants. It's not what, how do I make $1 million? It's going to tell us exactly what we need to know for the expansion of our heart and our minds and the progression of our being. So, coming down to this place with this person, she got this message that don't believe in the person who you think you are. Believe in the person you think you are not. And this is a very common thing, a very common theme that shows up in awakening to non-duality, is that we typically have this conception of who we think we are. It's outlined in the boundaries of our body. It has a name. For me, it's Daniel, or was Daniel. And this is the ego, this is the persona, this is the thing that we walk around the world and we represent ourselves as. And it gets filled up over the years with lots of beliefs about who we are and how we are, and that's also what a lot of other people see and think that that's us. That's the entirety of us. Who we think that we are not is really everything else. Everything outside of this small little category. And all of the attributes, the positive and negative attributes that we don't ascribe to ourselves, everything that is physically outside of our bodies, all of that stuff is everything that we think we're not. And so she got this message and she started to investigate that for herself. And this big opening started to happen. And also she started to feel this kind of grief, as if the person that she was grieving them, as if they had died. And this is also another common theme that shows up in a spiritual awakening, is that there's this sense of death, a sense of dying, an ego death. And if the ego is very strong, it's very still clinging to a lot of its attachments, to its own existence, then this can be a point of a lot of friction, a lot of back and forth intensity and fear. But luckily for this person, we had worked a lot in the past, and when it came to this point, she had already let go of a lot of the fear, a lot of the attachments that she had, and to her credit, she had done a lot of other work before she started working with me. So she came to this point, and this death, there was grief, but there was also happiness, there was energy, and this openness, this opening, this death of who she thought she was, happened rather easily and rather, fluidly. Another theme that came up was this sense that, okay, well, there's the person that I thought I was over here, and everything that I thought I was not over here. But in a sense, this is still a duality. This is still me and not me. And there's a box over here, a category here, and a category here. And she realized also intuitively that, oh, well, actually, there's an in-betweenness. There's something that is neither of these things, and also both. She didn't say it in quite such logical terms, but really just this sense of there's something in between. And when I heard that, my ears pricked up, because that in-betweenness is something else that I've heard often when people are going through this. A friend of mine who had his awakening experience years ago, he described it as falling into the space between words. Imagine the small little space on a printed page between words. What if you fell into that? What's there? What's the white of the page? And what if you fell into the white of the page? What if you fell into that silence between words? That emptiness between words. And underneath that, what is underneath that? You just fall, and there's nothing there. You just fall right through. And you fall into this openness, this space. And this is the space of non-duality. Because what we did is we created a duality, this, not this. And when you fall in between, you come into this place where it's not that and it's not that. It's just, the mind kind of goes blank, and everything just kind of opens. There's nothing there, and there's everything there. And the experience that she had was that, she saw a mountain and flowers, and it was just, oh, these just exist. There's no judgment around them. There's no, how do I interact with them? There's no, what does it mean? It's just, it exists. And this just existing, this experience of just witnessing being unfolding, witnessing the wind blowing, witnessing the river flowing, witnessing the bees going among the flowers, witnessing the existence, being as it is, doing exactly as it's been made. This is, it feels nice just talking about it. This is another hallmark of this state, of this experience. You can just look at the world, you can witness it, and observe it, and sense, oh, it just is. It just is. And there's a naturalness and an order and an alignment that is always already there. And you just watch it and observe it and let it happen. When I felt the awakening had kind of taken hold, and it was really sunk in and was there for her, I'd asked, was there any time in the past that you felt something like this? And she said, well, she kind of mentioned one particular point from her early 20s where she felt something like it. And then she said, well, I've also experienced these very, something like this, but it was very abstract. It was very out there, like cosmic. And This, she said, feels very embodied. It feels very here. It's not out there somewhere. It's here. And this is yet another really, really beautiful and important facet of this state of being. You may experience something like this in the vastness and the cosmic abstract version of this in a psychedelic experience, in a breathwork session, holotropic breathwork. You can experience this in kind of out-of-body experiences, different kinds of states that it's just like, but it's kind of out there. Awakening is when it happens, but it's right here, when it's embodied, when it's totally present. And the sense that comes up, and something that she said that I really liked, is there's a peace. And it was a peace without amplitude. And what she meant by that is like, usually there's an up and a down and an up and a down to experience. But here, it was just no amplitude. It was just peace. It was just ease. It was just presence. And in working with someone that's going through having an awakening right in front of me, it's beautiful. It's beautiful because it's there's nothing really to do in that moment. There's nowhere else to get to. But what can happen is something that I like to call light work. And light work is the way that I talk about it and use it is different than some of the things you may associate it with in terms of Reiki or New Age ideas of light work. What I mean when I say light work, it is an exchange of light. It is an exchange of consciousness. It is when somebody else is tuned into that light, tuned into that light of awareness, and I'm feeling it coming off of them, and then I reciprocate with my own light, and they reciprocate with theirs, and it's this exchange of, it's more than just words. It can look like two people talking, but it's more than just words. Something is happening on the level of consciousness that is so joyful, so peaceful, so love-filled. It's a recognition of the essence inside of me that is emerging from me, the essence of the universe, recognizing the essence of the person in front of me, and vice versa, them recognizing my essence and realizing that, it's one and the same. It's one and the same. We are existing in this way where we are both simultaneously completely distinct entities, and underneath that all, it is a completely shared consciousness that we are get to participate in, get to exchange, get to be in the presence of each other's light and joy. Yeah, brings up joy for me just talking about it. So, I hope that this video is somewhat helpful in kind of giving a sense of what this kind of process can look like. It doesn't have to look like this. It can happen a whole bunch of different ways, but this is some of what some of the ways in which I work with people, some of the kind of key points and themes that can come up during this kind of experience, and this way of being, this way of perceiving becomes more intuitive the more a person exists in this space, in this way of being. But at first it's remarkable seeing the way that someone just suddenly has access to So much clarity, so much understanding about about the deep spiritual questions without any there's no study involved. It's simply the person suddenly has crystal clear access to their own consciousness, and it is from their own experience of truth, and not what I'm telling them, not what anyone else has told them or anything else they've read. They're drawing their truth, their wisdom, from their direct experience. And ultimately, that is the place that our knowledge, our understanding of this has to come from. It cannot come from anyone else. It cannot come from any book. It has to come ultimately from our present experience. Oh, this is what I'm feeling right now. Oh, this is how it is for me. And it's not something that can be questioned or doubted, because that's that person's experience. They feel it. If I'd love to hear in the comments your experience with awakening, if you've had one, and kind of what either led up to it, what it felt like, and if you're interested in having an awakening yourself or navigating life after an awakening, you can contact me in the description below. Use the link, and I'd love to meet with you. I'd love to talk and hopefully work with you. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you in the next one.